All right, welcome to the Christian Men's Illustrated podcast. My name is Jeremiah Johnson, alongside Jake Waters in the house today. Very sad, there's no Greg Walden to be found. Who knows what that guy's doing right now? He's probably buying something, four-wheeler. Who knows? He's a crazy guy, that Greg Walden. So he's on his e-bike, cruising around right now as we speak, getting ready for the big Colorado trip. Well, this is the Christian Men's Illustrated podcast, and we talk about stuff guys love, specifically guys that love Jesus love, right?
That's right.
And so this is our 4th episode. One way that you guys can help out the podcast is just to share it. You can like it, whatever platform, like on the YouTube. You can just hit the subscribe button on Facebook, all those kind of follow us on the Facebook and or on Spotify, etc. All those kind of things. We would really, really appreciate that as we get this podcast kicked off. Well, I figured we'd start off with the Olympics, Jake Waters. I got it. I mean, I didn't watch loads and loads of Olympics, but I got into the Olympics, man. I got into it this year. How about you?
I did watch some of the synchronized diving.
Okay.
I used to always watch that with my mom. I like that. I like the women's relay.
Okay.
And then some of the
track
men's
and field,
swimming.
or?
Yeah, track and field. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just get down.
The track and field, well, I mean, they all amaze me because they are athletes. I mean, these people have been training for their whole life, but specifically the last 4 years.
Yes.
They've been waiting for this moment to unleash their talent, their potential, and they want the gold, right? They're trying to get the gold. And so I just am mesmerized by all of it. So I did watch a lot of track and field, specifically the 100-meter. America got back on top in Noah Lyles, 100-meter dash. He had COVID, which was really crazy, and then he got the bronze. But then, America just crushes it in track and field. I watched a bunch of pole vaulting. You ever watched
I have
pole
before,
vault?
but I didn't watch it this year.
That was pretty crazy. Then what else was there? Just watched a bunch of random stuff. I got some badminton. Love the beach volleyball. Now,
I love volleyball.
You can't really watch the women because it's like they're basically naked.
Yes,
It's like, but I watched, beach volleyball is super cool. I love the Olympics in general. So, and obviously, the highlight for me is USA men's basketball. The guys are back on top. I think this is the 5th straight gold medal for the men, and it was the 8th straight gold medal for the women, USA women's basketball. So it was pretty close. Now, the men and the women both played France. So it was USA versus France in both men's and women's basketball final. So Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors, he got hot, dude. When he makes it rain, he's making it rain, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit some amazing three-pointers, really led Team USA to get that gold. And then the women only win by 1 point.
Dang.
Versus the French women. But we get both gold medals, and it was awesome. So I think it was a great Olympics. Again, if Greg Walden was here, I wanted to attack him because that opening ceremony got so much heat.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, Greg Walden, do you think the dude playing badminton had anything to do with that?
No, I think maybe the people putting that stuff together are woke, but these people have fought their whole life to become professional athletes, and to have that kind of tarnish them, it sucks.
I know, because they didn't. Come on.
Yeah, they're not about that.
Did LeBron have anything to do with this opening ceremony antics? Probably not. So that I feel bad because I feel like they suffered for that. People are like, well, I'm not going to watch the Olympics because of that. We're like, well,
yeah.
Anyway,
I do think that stuff was horrible, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
I don't agree with that.
I didn't watch. I still never watched it just because I didn't want to. I read the articles of from trusted resources, Christian resources that said it was very bad. So, anyway, but the one that's taken all the heat. Are you an Instagram guy? Facebook? Do you tend to
Facebook?
Okay, Facebook and Instagram for me. But did you see the one sport, breaking or break dancing, was in the Olympics?
No, I did not.
Have you not? Okay. I don't know. I don't know where people are hiding, like you and my wife. So anyway, let me read this article. This one's coming out of sportbible.com. Sport will be removed from 2028 Olympics with a replacement already named. One sport will be removed from the 2028 Olympic Games, and its replacement has already been confirmed. The 2024 Paris Olympics drew to a close on Saturday, but already fans are looking ahead to 2028, where they are going to be. You know where they're going to be?
Where?
LA, bro. Los Angeles coming to America.
Los
Angeles will host the 34th Olympiad 44 years after the California city hosted the 1984 games. Oh, that's a long time ago, man. So anyway, all the traditional Olympic events have been included in the schedule, including gymnastics, swimming, track and field, However, there will be one sport that won't be featured in LA despite only making its Olympic debut in Paris this summer. You know what that is? It's breakdancing.
That's wild.
So breakdancing has not been included on the schedule for the 2028 game, a decision that was taken before the Summer Olympics had begun. Breaking made its Olympic debut on Friday with the B-Girls event followed by the B-Boys competition. Anyway, what took place, though, I thought it was okay. I thought it was kind of cool. But there's this ray gun girl from Australia. You didn't see this? I got to post this.
I will.
Check this out.
Okay.
Australian breakdancer. Okay, are you a good dancer?
No.
Okay, so you could have made, so she is, supposedly she teaches breakdancing. She has like a doctorate in movement and all this kind of stuff.
Dang. She
is getting roasted hardcore, viral, multi-viral over her dance. It was like basically my wife is not a dancer. She's a holiness Pentecostal lady, you know, like never danced a day in her life. It'd be like if I said, Rachel, you should break dance.
Yeah.
Right now.
It was just like painful to watch.
It was painful, bro.
Oh, no.
I mean, and she's getting blitzed like on all the late night talk shows, Instagram. She was doing like the sprinkler. I mean, everyone else is doing like multiple head twirls. She's doing like this sprinkler.
Yeah.
And just like helicopter, like winging her arms around.
No, flailing.
She got buried she did a kangaroo. She just like jumped like this. It was bad. I'm telling you, if you want to, I don't know what to do with that as a Christian because I'm like, I don't want to make fun of someone.
Right.
Right. But it's bad, bro.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad. And I mean, I'm concerned for her. Like, is this going to bring her to depression and suicidal? And anyway, it's like, did you hear the Hawk Tuah girl?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yep.
It's
that
on
bad. Yeah.
level of the Hawk Tuah girl, essentially is what it is.
She might make a bunch of money off of merchandise and memes.
I would. As a matter of fact, I hope it's not too horrible, but that's like a life goal for me. It's like, could I just do something so stupid
yes.
that it just becomes like, gets watched 200 million times and I get filthy rich off that? I'd be cool with that. I mean,
you only need to do it once.
Bad. Yeah, you just gotta do it once.
Yeah.
So, number one, breakdancing. I'm kind of glad it's not coming back. It did feel it didn't feel too Olympic-ish to me. Would you?
Yeah.
Did you? I mean,
well, it sounds weird that it would actually be Olympics, but I mean, they got different things.
So I didn't hate it, and there are breakdancers that can do amazing.
Yeah,
things
there's some that are phenomenal.
I'm like the power, the core power. Speaking of my plank board over there, I mean core power.
Yeah,
just. It was amazing, but at the same time, it's like I don't feel like I'm watching Olympics. I feel like it's good for Red Bull TV. Like Red Bull TV does that.
Yeah.
Stay there. And
exactly.
It's not coming back anyway. So we don't need to argue about it. But I'm telling you guys, go check it out. And anyway, I gave our church permission when I was leading worship on Sunday night. I was like, if anyone wants to break dance during worship tonight, I'm giving you complete freedom to go after it. Nobody did.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, you should do that. Like, be the weird breakdancing worship guy.
I would be so embarrassed. It's embarrassed even thinking about it.
Go for it. So, any other Olympic moments for you that you had that you thought were great? I thought it was great Olympics. I thought it was super great Olympics.
I saw that the wrestling that guy. I don't know how many gold medals he had. So he won a bunch of gold medals, but he left his shoes on the mat. Did you see that?
No.
He finally retired. He was bad to the bone.
Wow.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
Was he American? Was that or American?
American,
like Russian? Yep. Okay.
American guy. Yep.
It's typically America, and I think Russia typically dominate.
Yeah, they're pretty good wrestlers.
The wrestling side of things. A little bit of the boxing. We had the whole debacle with a girl or a guy boxer.
Yeah.
Based on my research, it's an XY. Let's put it like that. It's a dude.
Oh yeah.
Based on I think the liberal media is spinning.
Oh, they're going to try to, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a dude.
My whole thing is however you started out, that's what you are.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So anyway, but we don't want to necessarily dive down.
Yeah, don't.
But I thought the Olympics overall were absolutely wonderful, awesome. I love the Summer Olympics more than the winter. Mm-hmm. Again, that's because as Americans we dominate.
Oh, did you watch any of the what is that?
We ended up tied with China for most gold.
Oh, really?
We clearly won the overall medal count easily, but we were tied for gold with China.
Hmm.
Which one did I see? What?
I don't know if it's called K1, but it's like they're in like whitewater, and they have to like.
Oh yeah, the kayaking.
Yeah, the kayaking. That whole course is crazy. We watched it. Me and Rachel watched this course. She's like, you have to go through these little obstacles. That Seems pretty wild.
It's very interesting because we literally don't care about. I mean, isn't it weird? Yeah. We could care less about these sports except for like 2 weeks, and we think it's just like Simone Biles. Simone Biles, did you? I mean, like she's a superhero.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's phenomenal. Who can do that? Like, who can do that? But then you're like, after a week, you're like, I never think about gymnastics.
No,
except
never.
for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Every 4 years or 8 years or whatever it might be. So Olympics, go check it out. I got to now cancel my Peacock subscription. I resubscribed for a month just so I can watch the Olympics. Now moving on. So anyway, there we go on that one. Okay, I'm going to move over to another little funny story here that I had. I'm going to call this when texting goes wrong. Have you ever, Jake Waters, and anyone listening out there, guys specifically, have you ever sent a text to someone only to realize that you text the wrong person?
Several times.
And it goes bad. Maybe not super bad, but
like, oh my gosh, did I really do that? And then you just ignore it and let it be.
I'll tell an old story. I don't think even this friend would listen to the pod. Maybe he would, but anyway, I'll share this one very generally. But I had a friend, because I came from Utah, and anyway, a pastor died in like South Salt Lake City or something like that. And then my friend went to the funeral, and then the mayor of that Utah town went to the funeral. And it was filled with worship, and the guy was a pastor, loving God. And so there was a ton of worship, and they're preaching the gospel. And so anyway, this mayor of this Utah town, like Monday or Tuesday, whatever, sometime the next week, intends to text another person, but text my friend.
Oh, really?
And in that text, he was like, I can't believe all they wanted to talk about was Jesus, and used F-bombs and like,
really,
in reference. And this was supposed to be a religious person in that community. Like, and he's burying the Christian evangelical church and talking about how much they're worshiping Jesus and the cross, and how like using tons of expletives in connection with that.
Yeah.
Jesus and the Christian church, not the Christian church denomination, but like evangelical. And the dude realizes that he texted my friend.
Oh no. What was the next one?
It was just like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. You know,
how's he going to recover from that?
Yeah. It's like, and my friend could have used, I think he could have used that publicly, right? I mean, he could have took that to radio station or TV station and killed that dude, but he didn't do it anyway. All right, I digress. Now to my story. So my wife is out of town this weekend. So when my wife's out of town, I just try to stay super busy. I'll mow the lawn. Like I'm just, idle time is the devil's time, as they say, right? So
right.
I'm keeping busy. So anyway, there's a dude in our church named Harrison. We're gonna go mountain biking. So Rachel's, my wife's always like, "What are you doing?" Blah blah blah. Because I'm a really crazy guy. But she's checking up on me. So I send Harrison a text to Rachel, to my wife, but I'm supposed to go to Harrison. And I was like, hey, let's connect tomorrow morning. Just come to my house.
And
we'll meet up. Oh, no. So, I mean, I wasn't using anything over it, right? But it was just like, you could have read it like that if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like, it's like, am I hooking up or something? And, she's like, what are you talking about? All those kind of things. So I ended up having like, it's just Harrison, we're going out. Mountain biking, and that is. So
she didn't turn around and come home right then.
When texts go bad. So
yeah.
You have any stories like that you want to bury yourself with, or no?
No, I'll leave them alone. Some of them are a couple that I can think of, or we'll just leave them be.
So yeah, I was like, oh man, when texting goes bad, always make sure that you're texting the right person.
Yes, absolutely.
Preferably, but I've done that before. And then voice texting. Have you ever done that before? Like
absolutely.
Voice text.
Yep.
And it's like,
it sounds like you're drunk.
Yeah,
or you're illiterate.
Like, it's like, Jake, I hate your guts and I want to kill you. But it's like you said, I hate grapes and I don't really like fruit, or something
yes, exactly.
And it just comes out of this horrible sentence or whatever it might be. So, that's my lesson learned for the day. Make sure that you're texting the right person.
Yep.
And that one didn't backfire super bad, but just kind of funny. So anyway, bouncing over to the tech side of things, I listen to. So have you ever heard of the Lex Friedman podcast?
Yes.
He's pretty big time in the game. So Lex Friedman had people, I know our attention spans are being reduced, but long form content and long form podcasts are all the rage, right? Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Look, Joe Rogan, every podcast is 2 to 3 hours.
Absolutely. There was one that was 4 hours the other day.
Lex Friedman busts out an 8-hour podcast.
Dang.
And it was on Neuralink.
Okay.
So now the 8 hours, it was 8 hours, bro. I looked on Spotify, like 8 hours, But it was part of it was Elon, part of it was the first test guy, but super fascinating. I'm not speaking to that specifically, but I found this article on popularmechanics.com where it says a scientist says humans will reach the singularity within 21 years. So futurists have long debated the arrival of the singularity when human and artificial intelligence will merge, a concept borrowed from the world of quantum physics. So, that's what they're talking about with Neuralink and all this stuff. Like, when are we going to, we are slowly merging with technology.
Right.
So when do the lines get blurred? When do we become like cyborgs essentially, right? Or when do we become as much tech as humans, vice versa, all these kind of things. So
it's crazy to think that would you actually be able to get your consciousness onto an SD card?
Yeah.
And transfer, right. You know what I mean? Are you going to be a robot? And what does that look like?
Because that is, so if you listen to Elon, that's what he's saying. He wants to, part of his goal is to, one is to be multiplanetary, make sure that, if we blow ourselves up, which we could literally
absolutely
do that, we have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And then to keep consciousness alive. That's literally his goal. So, yeah, I don't know. It also says a couple other things here. It says American computer scientist and futurist Ray Kurzweil has long argued that the singularity would likely occur around the middle of the 21st century. And with the rise of AI, his predictions are gaining more credence. In his new book, The Singularity is Near, Kurzweil doubles down on those predictions and details on how humanity's intelligence will increase 1 million-fold via nanobots. So you just go through it. This is where, it just gets scary. So let's see, even one says Kurzweil theorized the artificial general intelligence would be achieved once humanity could achieve a technology capable of 1 trillion calculations per second, which he pegged to occur in 2029. So we're not talking about like when we're dead stuff. We're talking about like for you and I. Like
yeah, in our lifetime.
In our lifetime, so.
But do you think they would actually be able to capture, like God has given us our soul?
Yeah.
And our consciousness. You would have to capture that. And I don't know if they can.
Right. It's, for we as Christian men, we're calculating in the return of Christ, the rapture. So my brain says before we ever get to that point, Jesus is going to return, etc. But it's just, I don't know. Like
it's so crazy.
It's like, at what point do we start playing God? And I just took an ethics class, right? I'm finishing up an ethics class, and that, you talk about that with, not abortion, but with when eggs, embryos, etc. Are we playing God in all that scenario, right? So, and now even with technology, it's like, well, we're bashing AI, but now we put knee replacements. We're already putting tech in our body.
Yeah, getting hot rodded out.
Because like on the Neuralink guy, he was like, well, that's what his argument was like. Why wouldn't I use Neuralink? We already put in shoulder replacements and knee replacements. We put batteries in our heart and defibrillators in there.
Now, is this guy handicapped in some way?
This guy's not handicapped.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't get to the part where the first test subject, because the first test subject of Neuralink is implemented. It's working. It's functioning. So I find all this stuff to be really, really fascinating.
Yeah, me too.
I would say like Christians can't run away from this stuff. Like you can't just hide
it's a reality.
Stick your head in the ground.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I joke with old ladies who are like, I don't know what all this AI stuff is. It's like, okay, do you use Facebook? You already use AI.
Yep.
Do you use YouTube? You're already using. I just came out of a meeting where we were using AI to just transcribe our whole meeting for us.
Wow. That's incredible.
I don't know, man. I'm scared. I'm paying attention to it because it's like, am I going to be a cyborg before I even know it? Anyway, I'm not going down that conspiracy road, but I do find it to be very, very interesting. And because it's moving
very quickly.
The problem is it's moving quickly and there's no regulation on it.
Yeah, that's the scary
thing. That's the problem.
Yep.
Is it's moving faster than regulation can keep up. So will we create something that we can't control before we put the parameters in place?
Right.
All for the sake of money, business, etc.
My thought was, could you train it to spread the word? Everybody's worried about it doing the wrong things. What if we just like train this thing to do all the things that we want to do as far as evangelizing in a way.
I'm roll with that too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we go back. This is another thing. So think about TV and radio. Like at one point that was radical.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember reading articles when the internet was starting to blow up, and we're starting to use the internet as churches, websites, all this kind of thing. And they're basically like, some people are like, this is evil, blah blah blah. But like when TV and radio first came out, same kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Like some people are like, this is evil, don't use it. And there's churches that are dead that got washed away because they didn't embrace
the times.
That.
Yeah.
So, again, please don't think of me as like, but I do think we have to like keep our ears open. Can we use this? Is this a gospel tool? Because I will say, let me shout out to this. Like, this wasn't via, I don't know if this was via our podcast. I still didn't get the direct story. But the other day, because I make different videos for our church, Grace Point Daily, for this podcast. But the other day, I got a message via Facebook Messenger from a dude that I went to high school with. And he was like, hey, my name's Sam Cameron, and I just want to let you know you're amazing, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, he just talked about some of the videos that I made that encouraged him spiritually and how he's following God.
Oh, super cool.
And I was like, bro, I first of all, I didn't even know he ever watched one. I haven't talked to that guy since high school.
Wow.
So you're talking 20, 5 years ago. And, he's being touched via social media by using that tool. And I think that's great.
Yeah, I love it.
So, yeah, I think that's why we got the Holy Spirit.
That's right,
Holy Spirit's supposed to give us, at least what the Bible said, Holy Spirit's supposed to give us wisdom, counsel, direct us to truth, all those kind of things. So, Holy Spirit, please help us.
Please.
Maybe the Holy Spirit is AI. No, just kidding.
No.
Anyway, so I find that very, very fascinating. So, any other stuff you're munching on there, Jake Waters?
No.
In the world of dudes, obviously Olympics was super huge. Technology stuff is always rolling around.
If anybody's getting into BKFC or they like it, they probably saw Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship 64 this last Saturday. Johnny Graham and Connor Tierney. Connor Tierney won, but it was a super good fight. It was good.
Yeah.
They went at it.
You have to, I will say with the bare knuckle, you got to have a little bit of a stomach for it because it can get nasty, dude. You can slice some dudes up, and I like it. And I would say what I've noticed so far is that it's not the highest of skill sports.
No.
This is like 40% skill, 60% like, I'll die right now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, just that savage.
Yeah.
Yep.
You literally be a savage. I mean, it's like next level beyond UFC, but it's regulated.
It is
classes,
and I've watched
those kind of things.
I've watched them. They will stop. Like, I've seen quite a few where guys like 4 punches into getting served his death sentence, and they just call it off before he even hits the mat. You know. And
Conor McGregor is a part owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. So there was a big show out in Sturgis. Was that the show you're talking about, the Sturgis?
The Sturgis one was before that. This one was in London, and then on the 16th, they actually got one in Kansas City.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
It's getting big.
It is.
It's getting big, and there's, clearly if Conor and people like that are starting to roll with it, there's money there to be shall we say, in the game. So Bare Knuckle Championship, I guess I'm not super into the women fighting kind of thing. There's a few really that I don't mind, like Holly Holm. Shout out to Holly Holm, the preacher's daughter, and a few others. But yeah, it's just a savage sport. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and I don't know. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger.
I do too. So. It's super exciting. I like it,
and I think it's Triller. I think that's on Triller, is where you can watch the pay-per-views, or just YouTube it, and you can find stuff going on there and stuff like that.
You could get the app for $7.99 a month, and you get like unlimited, all you want
on BKFC app.
Yep.
Okay, there you go. Pick it up. All right, so let's talk a little spiritual talk as we wrap things up here on this episode on the podcast. You got any good spiritual thoughts you've been munching on lately?
Just the one I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah, let's walk through it again. Break it down for us.
Okay, so I was reading in 2 Chronicles. They was talking about Hezekiah, the king.
Yep.
So shout out to Hezekiah. Yeah. And made me think about little Hezekiah as I was reading that. But after him, it's this king, and he did not follow in the ways of David. But they had Asherah poles. They worshipped Baal. They had the thing that really made me say, wow,
was it Manasseh?
It might have been, yeah, okay. It was Manasseh. Yep, okay. That's 100% it was, yep.
2 Chronicles 32. While you're talking, I'm able to fire up the Google a little bit. So Manasseh, his son Manasseh,
Yep. And they bowed down before the heavens, the powers of heaven, and that made me think, just wow, what does that look like? Because we know God created everything, so that's obviously like some sort of demonic spirit. And throughout the text, it says God's lowercase g, so they're definitely tapping into something that's not good. But then it also went on to say that they had burned their children at the altar. And I'm thinking, okay, what is this, like 17-year-old or infants? But as I'm reading this, it's all just kind of setting into me just how rotten you go from one good king to a bad king.
Yeah.
But then God sends the Assyrians in to come in and take them over and smoke them. And from what I've read, like the Assyrians would skin people alive. So he's sending in the baddest of the bad. But throughout this, Manasseh, he humbles himself, and then he wholeheartedly repents to God. And God saves him from this attack of the Syrians. And it just goes to show that no matter how bad you can be, you know what I mean? If you're burning children at the altar or just whatever you've done, if you got shame or guilt in your life, it doesn't matter if it's a small thing or maybe, you got locked up or you're on drugs or, you had separation from your family. It doesn't matter whatever anybody's shame or guilt is that if you humble yourself, wholeheartedly humble yourself, and that was the key in this story, like he really humbled himself, and you repent wholeheartedly, God can save you from any situation. So that one's just stuck with me all week.
Yeah. I was on a Zoom call last week with a guy who had been involved with substances, homosexual lifestyle, a bunch of years. And he was really in this place like, I don't even know if I can come back to church or if I could ever, but he decided to return, and he had amazing testimony of life turnaround, just stuff. God turned his life around, following Jesus. God brought a great woman into his life. He got married and just all these kind of things. But, just again, that you can always turn it around.
Yes,
that God
absolutely.
is a God of second chances. He's a God of grace, mercy, love, kindness. It's like Paul in the New Testament. Paul said that. He's like, listen, I'm the worst. Like I'm literally the worst Christian, or before I was a Christian, I was one of the worst people. Literally, but Jesus saved me, and we can never underestimate that. So it's a combination of like, if you're, if you're listening today, like Jesus can change your life. No matter
100%.
You are. But then the scary part is like for me, who's been a Christian over 20 years now, I got to be careful not to become that religious dude, that looks at other people like, oh, geez, they're so horrible. Mm-hmm. Like that person is so bad. They're never going to get saved, right?
Right.
So,
yep.
I find myself something like that, every once in a while like that.
Yeah.
With that kind of mentality. I was like, man, that person is so bad. It's like they're horrible.
Yeah. We got to check ourselves.
Yep. So, yeah, Chronicles is all great. I love those kings. And
yes,
it's weird the whole bouncing back and forth. Like even, something like as fathers, you and I as fathers, that's the scary part when I read those stories of Hezekiah being this awesome king, purifies the temple, brings people back to the Lord, and then his son goes crazy. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
His dad was awesome from what I can read. So it makes me really scary as a father with two boys to be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Boys serve Jesus. So
absolutely.
Anyway. Well, guys, it's been a good conversation today. We are already on episode 4. I'm sure Greg Walden will be back with us again. And we appreciate you listening to Christian Men's Illustrated podcast. And we'll talk to you guys next time.